Hi guys, it's me Karen and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do the last part of the page we're doing in the Ken Matsuda coloring book. So we're working on the little rooster here. Now I'm going to darken up some of the tips, or the ends. I guess it's a tip because it goes into the bird. The tips of the feathers here, and darken them up a bit. Just because I think they look a little off there, and I darkened one up just to double check to make sure it looked all right. All I have to do is find the pencils I used, because my desk is a disaster area, like it always is. In order to color, I must have everything out. I don't know if you're all the same, but that's how I am. So what I did was, like in here, these feathers are way in the back and they're coming forward, so we just took a little of the darker colors and just kind of went over those tips a little bit and set them in the back by just darkening. And this color here is the dark cyan. And then we'll add a little bit of the, whoops, wrong one, midnight shade just to go in there, which is the darkest blue that we had, and we'll just bring it out. And get those little parts a little darker. I'm going to go up here and do the same thing. Start off with the other color though. So just bring that up. Then go in with the midnight. Try not to get it on the tip of that little flower. There we go. That just adds a little something. So we're going to do that on all of them. Go in with the other color first. Then the midnight. Okay, doesn't take much, but that looks good. And if you want it any darker, just take in your black. Just kind of give that a little more depth just down at the edges. Just like that. And that's how I did those little guys down here. Just adds a little something. Okay, we're going to work on a couple of things. We've got to finish the little leaves here. We got to do this little thing down here. I got to shade in this foot a little different because it's kind of back further, and we want to put in a little bit more of a shadow up here. So Persian Orange is what I brought out, and we're just going to shadow up that back foot there. Add a little more of that down in here, and just up here at the top you want that looking like it's back further, and then this looking like it's up, and that kind of going backwards too. He's kind of lifting his foot up, and I brought that up in here too. And we're going to do his toenails in this. There. We're also going to take some of the same color that isn't anywhere but his feet and add it in someplace up here. Okay. Greens. We have green gold that I'd like to use, and then we're going to go into the polys for the green tones. Let's see what we got. I should have pulled some out, so sorry. The olive, that one, that one. I pulled them out. Okay, they're lily pads, because these are water lily flowers, and that little part in there is supposed to look like a oh, what is it? Locust fruit? It's edible part of the flower. I think it's yellowish cream colored. I have to look it up though. Let's click something here and type in water lilies. Just make sure I got the colors right too. Water lily. Put our fingers on the right keys, we might get a better typing of the word. Okay, yeah, that's kind of the yellow part, so we need yellows for that, and I think we have those out. So pull some of those yellows. What else do we have? Okay, we just need a bigger image. That image is the tiniest thing I've ever seen. Okay, well, that one's good enough. So we'll color this one in yellow. We're going to go cream in here first. Then we're going to pull in mustard. And then our Umber Gold. And boom. We're going to throw a little brown in that too. Brown, 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 brown. Just to darken it up a little bit. Okay, and on our flowers, I want to make them a little, how do I say, I want a shadow underneath them. And I think that's going to have to be done in the greens, so let's put those little pencils over there, pull out the greens. All right, I might or might not use that one. That's the lightest color. We're going to throw some of that in here and bring it up into the flower too. Just a little bit. Put it on this over here. We might want to throw some yellow in there because I don't exactly know what kind of flower that is, or leaf that is. It's a little different, but we'll throw some of that in there. And here we go with this one. And then this big one up here. And again, we're going to throw a little of that in the flower up here. All right. So far that looks good. I'm going to throw a little of that in this little guy here too, on all of those. And there's a few. I know there's more. I just don't know where they are. I went around a whole bunch of them. Maybe I painted over some. Who knows? I could have. Okay. And the next color. So we're going to bring in, going with the, the green gold here. I'm going to add a little red there in the center here. And then underneath this one. More on the stem up here. And add that in all the little ferns too. Okay, and we're going to go in with permanent green olive. Go in the dark spots here, bring that outward. I don't know if you want to be down lower for this, so I'll scoot you down. There we go. down this one. I think that area is supposed to be black or pink. Maybe we'll just make it green. Pretend that's part of this part. I don't know. Again, this is just the light green that I'm using. Okay, now we have the olive green yellowish. I'm going to use this underneath this part. Underneath there, underneath over here. And sorry, but we have some underneath parts over there I want to make sure I get. This is a chromium green opaque. I'm just going to bring it in and bring out some lines here. Okay, then we're just going to run my cream over it. A little in there. Go to the other side of the page here. I'll throw the cream on this side too. But we have a lot more work to do on this one. So we're going in with the chrome. Okay, we're gonna get, where's our black? Gonna kind of make a vein in here. Okay, up. We'll do that on the other side too when I get back over there. The olive green yellowish. And the permanent green olive. The light green. Gonna take a little of the black. The leaf comes up and over. This needs to be darker. Comes up here, and that needs to be darker. Probably comes up over here. No idea. We're going to just give it a nice little shadow under here. Go back in with the cream. And a little bit of white. Just touch those high points. There we go. I'm going to pull in some of those greens down here into the fern area. This is the chromium green opaque. Just kind of going down the center of those and pulling the color out a little bit. Okay, we have one up here we have to do, and I have to get those leaves done a little bit better, so back onto the other side. So bring that up the center, out to one side, and darken those up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to pull this color down. White. I know I have a bigger white than that. Excuse me, sorry about that. A little bit of a sniffle today. Yeah, I think those have to be darker. Yeah, bring in a gray or something under here. Maybe a little ink, darken that side up. It's an interesting flower, and or leaf, I don't really know how to color it. So I'm going to leave it for a little bit. I'm going to work on this little piece down here. And I want to kind of make it a gold color. So we're going to get out some yellow tones and brown tones. So we're going to get out a yellow ochre if I can find it. Why don't I do this off camera? I'll be right back. Okay guys, we're back. I've got out some colors. Kind of all ochre-y tones here. So we're going to start off with a light. As soon as I find it. Light yellow. Well, no, we're going to start with a Naples Yellow type thing. It's the lightest one I pulled out. And down here on the bottom little swirl, I'm going to make it gold, or try to at least make it a nice, pretty gold color. There are some areas here that I think I'm supposed to paint black, like that one right there, but I don't know until I get kind of it done. So we're going to just kind of work on it and then decide. I really do think that one's supposed to be. I've brought some other colors down. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. I think it's supposed to be black, but we'll see how far we get here. And I think maybe something over here should be black too, but like I said, we'll figure that out. Let me see. I'll have the black pencil out just in case. We'll just leave it there. And I'll color it all in gold and then go in and, like this little piece here, darken one up. Okay, so we have our, whatever color I just used, the light yellow ochre, Naples Yellow. Okay, then we're going to bring in the light yellow ochre here. Kind of go over some spots. This color combination was given out by Sammy. This is her gold that she used on one of her Serene pages. If anybody's got that book. Is that part of his little foot? It is. We're going to have to color that in, his foot color. Criminies. Here we go. Back tail, back part of his foot, I guess. So we did the Naples and we've done the light golden. I just want to keep them separate so I know what I'm doing here. And then we're going to go in with the brown ochre and darken some areas here. Get it behind that foot so it looks like it's shadowed a little bit. Okay. Get it dark over here too. I have other pencils here. I should probably move those. They're to darken the leaves. Brought out some ivies to darken that out a little bit. Okay. Then we're going to go in with some burnt ochre. I think one of those is supposed to be black. And then we're going to go in with some dark Naples Yellow. Or is it ochre? It's ochre. Okay, we're going to pull some of that going up here too. and into these little feathers. We're going to let some of that color drip down into here. So we're going to go backwards with these. Okay, I'm going to go a little darker brown. Yep, as soon as I find something, the walnut brown here, gonna just darken some of these curls here. Okay, now we got the black. Black, come here. I'm going to go ahead and darken this one. Pull that out. I'm going to darken that a lot. Okay, had to sharpen this, and I have to be careful because I have to leave some of that yellow. So sorry if you can't see that right away. I have to, when we round that one out too, go around here and pick out my areas, and I'm going to use a white to pull that. Hello, do we have white? That little line back out. Yeah, shaky, but that's okay. There we go. Then I'll use the black and unshaky it. Okay, so that's one on that side, and I think I want to make it really kind of loose here, so I want to make another one on this side here. So, let's see, I think I'll put it right in here. Just draw it in there and then color that portion. Bring it in, up, and then follow that line and kind of make it a scoopier look. And then I think I'll put one right about here. Just make that look like it's a little more flowy. Whoops, I knew I was going to do that. Okay. Then we'll bring our colors right out to those points. So the dark walnut, then bring it down in that line. So it just kind of looks like it's flowing that way. Bring in our Whatever this is, it's the Naples Yellow. Right on that white. Bring in the brown ochre. And the burnt ochre. And we're going to bring in, I know I have a bigger white than that one. Yes. A white prisma here. Clean off the tip. And we're going to make sure that we have some of those lines still showing there. It's getting there. Then we're going to put in a black area on this side too. I just dropped my pencils. So this one's shaded the most, so I'm going to go ahead and darken that one. And up here a little. Okay, go back in with the brown. Just going to keep going over with all the colors until you like it. Black. Oh, this white went over just a little too far here, so we're going to darken that up. Okay. I'm I'm going to bring some of that color. I think this lightest color needs to go back in there too. I think it's up in here. And we're going to bring a little into his face too, so we have to pull his face down. So we'll bring in the lightest color first, and that's the yellow. Well, that's not the right one. This one. We're going to brighten that up. That is the Naples Yellow. Then the light yellow ochre. Then we're going to bring in the brown ochre. We're just going to darken up some feathers here. A little bit of the burnt ochre. That's looking good. Okay, we're going to find the greens I brought in. Put these over here. So I brought in, for the leaves, ivy, seaweed, and dark sepia. We're going to really darken up this underside here. I just got to figure out which ones I use first. Are they really that close? Okay, this one's greener. So we're going to pull that under here. Okay, then we'll bring in the darker color, which is the dark sepia here. We're going to really get that dark there. I'm not exactly sure what this leaf is supposed to do, but I'm going to make that a petal here and just darken that up. I don't know. Then we're going to take the white that I dropped on the floor, so hold on, and go in and lighten up some areas here. Yep, that's an interesting looking thing. But it's green. Darken up this one too. Going to lightly bring those colors darker around the rooster. And we're going to draw over the page. Bring in our white again. Highlight those areas back up. This feather down here did not get dark. Maybe that's bothering me too. It's underneath the tree there, or branch, or whatever it is. It should also be connected to the rooster, so maybe it comes down that way. So we're just going to darken that up. And look at it. It's this, the feather has to come this way then. Here we go. We're going to take a little black here. Darken that. Maybe pull some of that black into that. Play around with that. I'm still going to throw some ink on it, I believe. And we want to darken a little bit more of these areas. So we either bring in the sepia, which seems to have disappeared on my table, or brown. Why is it when you're looking for something you just can't find it? What do we have here? The brown ochre. Just gonna touch those leaves with that. Darken those up a little bit. Okay. Now we're going to have a little fun. For the most part, he's done. I have to move some of these pencils out of the way before they all fall on the floor. And we're going to bring in some glitter Posca. Yep. Okay, I need a piece of paper to test these out on. So there we go. I have blue, green, purple, and kind of this orangish color. Okay. They're going to add a little sparkle and a little color here. And I thought we could put a little in the gold. Oh, if we go over, that's okay because we can go over it with the black pencil. We can throw a little of this up in his comb. And maybe a tiny bit in his beak. There we go. Maybe some in those feathers down here. Okay, blue is going to go in some of these feathers. So we'll just take a little bit. Drag it with your finger, bring that color through. Okay. don't worry if you get it where you don't want it. Black pencil. Okay, we're gonna let that dry up there. Throw a little blue down here too. Okay, then we're going to take the purple and do the same thing, a little bit in the feathers. Turn the book around if I can without knocking everything off. I want to get that feathers to go the right way. There we go. If you're wondering what it does to your fingers, how shiny we are. That's how shiny it looks on the page. Okay, well this is what I mean if you went over it a little too far and you want to clean it up, just take the black and go over that. Now that it's dry, and make the point that you want. Make it as big or small as you want. Any of these that went over, just go over the pencil. If you want to, you can add in some more of those little leaf breaks. In any of those. Okay. I already cleaned up a little bit down here. If you're wondering if any of that goes through, I had a little bit of where I rubbed a lot, and it's the ink from this side that came over to here. I don't know if you can see that, but because I was putting a lot of pressure here, the ink transferred from over here. I should have had a piece of paper under here so it wouldn't do that, but I can erase that later. I'm going to use the black and just kind of put a little bit more of a shadow right in this area here. Under his bill. His beak, I guess. It's a beak. I just want to make him stand out a little more. So over here, we're going to pull some of that black into his feathers. just so he stands out a little bit more. I'm using it very lightly. Then what I'm going to do is get out a nice dark green ink. Okay, so we have peeled paint, nice dark color. I have the mini tool because I don't want to bring in the big one. Right around the rooster, and we're going to bring some of that color in. It'll darken the darker spots and keep the lighter spots semi-light, but darken the whole leaf itself, which is kind of what I was after. And when I can't do it with a pencil, out comes the ink. That's a pretty color too. We're going to put some of that in the fluffy fern type stuff. And right over here, a little underneath those leaves. We're also going to get out some stormy sky, I think. I have a purple too. There we go. And we got faded jeans. That might be a good one. Not stormy skies, but it might be too dark. So we'll get out another one of these stick thingies. Oh, my drawer needs to be changed out. What color are you? What color are you now? We're just going to take the blue and put it in and leave one feather up a little higher. Just kind of darken some areas. Okay, turn it around, and we're going to get some purple, hopefully. This is purple, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to throw some of that in there too. Just on some edges. Don't want to get rid of my shimmer, but it probably won't. There we go. And then I'm going to take a little bit of a brown. Let's see, what do I have here? What do I have? I'm going to bring in some brushed corduroy. Just touch it in here. Oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. So sorry. Right around his face. So we're going to go up in the comb here with that. Just darkens it up. Down under here. Like that. And let's put a little bit here. Okay. Put that over there, put that over there. And I already did his eye, but I'm going to take in the glazed Sakura pen. Make sure it works. And we're going to rise up that eye. And then re-put in our dots as soon as that dries. And we're going to get... yeah, whatever you are. There's a few little white spots here I'm not crazy about, so we're gonna lighten those up. Or color those up. Lighten those up. We're gonna lighten them up so they show up really white. Just throw a little bit of this color, which is a yellow tone, amber gold, in a few of those little branches so we have a little variation in them. Okay. Posca, white Posca. Where are you? I should show you what my desk looks like. You guys will get a crack up about that. Okay. And we're going to put dots back in his eyes. That one a little bigger. There we go. Okay. Now, let's see if you can see the shimmer on him. You see that? So we have more of an iridescent look, and that goes up on his feathers up at the top too, and his comb and everything. So he's got some nice shimmer going on, as any cool rooster should. Okay, so I am done. So I'll get a bigger look for you here. I think if we get everybody in here, except for my disaster of a desk. And then I'm going to turn off these overhead lights, because the pictures always look different when I take them from the other spot. That's what it looks like. In fact, it's darker than that. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in another video. Take care, everyone. Bye now.